Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 11th of May, 2021. Coming to the Crusty podcast. Episode 124, Mayor Nenshi calling all these protesters racist and white nationals, as well as Jagmeet, Singh, and others. All that more coming to the show. Stick around.
Get it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Oh, yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally welcome.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here is Crusty.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.
Yes, indeed, Judy. Mind you, this podcast does have swearing, so therefore, listener discretion is advised and is not meant for children. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, of course, in recent news, Mayor Nenshi said some wonderful tidbits on the global news network in regards to protesters in Calgary and Edmonton, what have you. All the freedom rallies, like that we like to call them here in the normal world, you know, without looking at people's color and people's backgrounds and people's gender orientation. I like to look at people protesting because they have something to say. Now, it doesn't matter whether you agree with this or agree with that. When you get people en masse out in the streets protesting something, it's usually because somebody is pissed off. And of course, leave it to these fucking clowns. Doesn't matter if they're mayors or premiers or federal cabinet ministers, always pushing this racial identity down our throats again. Now, it doesn't take a gifted person to realize what's going on here. It doesn't take a super intelligent, strategized fucking rocket scientist or a scientist or a political scientist for that matter to understand what's going on here. Now, people are getting sick and tired of these lockdowns, the economic turmoil, the hyperinflation that it's about to hit us just over the fucking horizon, you know, based on lumber costs, fuel costs, cost of living, all that good shit. And yet there's always these politicians that have to pipe up and say something about race. Now, after all the footage I have seen from Montreal to Edmonton, to Calgary, to Vancouver, to our brothers in the States too, to some of their cities, on these lockdowns, on these businesses being closed, people being ticketed, people being fined, and of course watching Pastor Outer Pawlowski and his brother David Pawlowski being arrested, literally being chased down Deerfoot Trail and being apprehended by more than 10 officers for breach of contract or breach of health restriction, whatever fucking trumped up charge they give them. And of course, the mayor of Calgary, and according to I keep calling it doctor for some reason, I don't know. According to Pastor Pawlowski, you know, was pretty fucking belligerent and prosecuted and persecuted Mr. Pawlowski with extreme prejudice when it came to him feeding the homeless. So what's this tell you here? Okay, I'll play some audio in a bit there. But when I look at these individuals who constantly pull the race card, what are you trying to promote? Okay? I don't care what your background is, Mayor Nenshi. I don't care where you come from or what your religious rights are or how you feel about this, feel about that. You are an elected official. Okay? You were elected by the people of Calgary to do something about said crisis. That goes to the job. Now, at the time you're elected, there was still a bit of a boom going on in Alberta. You know, there was still oil production. There were still things in the works. And based on what I've been told by other people from Calgary and other protesters alike, you're not doing too goddamn much when it comes to keeping things clean, keeping things safe. You keep toting the whole virtual fucking card. You keep pulling race card out every time someone questions your integrity and questions your ability. Right? You just chalk it up as racist or just chalk it up as belligerence. Oh my God, you're prejudiced. Right? Now, when you look at the footage of everyone from Montreal, Quebec City, Toronto, Waterloo, Kingston, all these towns, right? Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Victoria. Okay? Do you honestly see nothing but white people? Really? Is that your logic? Just because the majority of people out there who happen to be white or happen to be European descent, That doesn't mean it's a racial, white nationalist rally, you disingenuous fucking turd. Okay? Now, I have honestly tried to be as professional and tried to be as lenient. Yeah, I know I swear a lot in the Crusty Canuck podcast, but that's my brand, that's my show, and I'm sticking to my guns. Okay? But Mr. Nenshi, I'd like to see you back up your claims when you make those fucking statements. Okay? I honestly like to see you back up those claims. Tell me, how many little white national groups are protesting every little fucking rally we see? Can you give me names of these groups? Can you give the RCMP or the CPS names of these so-called racialized groups that do nothing but cause division and strife between all of the cultures this country has to offer? Can you give me a name of some of these groups that protests all these racial divides? Right? What are some of the names of these characters? Who are the people affiliated with these so-called white supremacist groups? Right? Where are they? Right? There's maybe two groups I can think of back from the late 80s, early 90s. They used to do their fucking thing. And they were heavily associated with a lot of National Socialism. They were shitheads. I remember their fucking pamphlets and flyers going around. And they were just fucking, they're idiots. Right? So, sir, and to every other race baiter out there, I'd like to see you try to find these groups, okay, and expose them for what they are. They're shitheads. Any group that wants to segregate anyone in this country for the sake of color or creed or religion, as far as I'm concerned, is a doofus. Right? But when you're going to sit there on national television and promote that belligerence, you're no fucking better than the racists you make us to be.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And another thing too, sir, you were elected to look after probably one of the best cities on the planet. You know, a city that has a history of not just the Stampede, but of oil production, you know, energy production, and quite a bit of longevity when it comes to tough times. And yet you are sitting in your little ivory tower. And I don't really give a fuck if you're leaving politics in November or not. That's not the point. You're still sitting in the reins of running a city, looking after people. But it's been proven already. And I had Mr. Pawlowski on my show a few weeks back, who proved to me and my audience what exactly you have done. Right? You persecuted this man. You gave this man a hard time for doing something very humane. Feeding the homeless, getting volunteers together, cooking the food, putting things together just to help people out, especially in these trying times. And you have the bloody audacity to sit there and act like you're some kind of fucking god, or act like you're some kind of great guy. Oh yes, I'm part of the progressive left. I'm so woke. You're not woke. You're a douche. Okay? And I'm not saying that because of your background or what culture or identity you may represent. You represent a culture that wants to control people. You represent a culture that wants to contain people, that wants to chastise people. Okay? Don't talk to me about freedom and democracy and how we can all get along when you promote the racial divide. Well, you're no better than the NDP that criticized the freedom rallies here in the Edmonton area a few weeks back, who pinpointed certain items like the tiki torches, or where people were standing, or what people were saying. You tend to forget that this pandemic is going to turn around and bite you in the ass too, right? You still get paid, sir. You still get quite a few big bucks from the city of Calgary, and not to mention whatever kickbacks you get from your corporate friends too. We all know how the game works. Doesn't matter if you're a mayor, doesn't matter if you're a premier or a prime minister or cabinet minister. We all get our sponsorship one way or the other. Hey? Hey there, Buckeye? Mm-hmm. But those comments you made on Global, and I'll play them shortly there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Those comments you made were disingenuous, unfactual, right? And just downright fucking nasty. And for what? Right? Oh, we have to hurry up and hide and live in fear. And the moment you step out and protest, oh my God, you're a white nationalist. Oh, how dare you? Oh, you're a fucking racist. Oh my God. I'll ask you again, sir. I'd like you to get off your high horse and do some actual research on how many of these groups are out protesting are associated with any kind of white nationalism. Just because someone's white waving the Canadian flag, that doesn't mean they're a fucking Nazi. Just because someone's black waving the Canadian flag, that doesn't mean they're associated with a Nazi group. What if the person is Asian? What if this individual comes from Hong Kong or comes from Vietnam or comes from the Philippines and they're waving the maple leaf? Does that make them, an Uncle Chin, a Fu Manchu, or an Uncle Tom? Is that the logic, right? How much do you get paid a year, sir, to sit there and talk such fucking garbage? Now, you have every right to speak your mind, just as I do, just as your neighbors do, just as our neighbors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when you go on national television and have the fucking audacity to constantly throw the race card around, sir, you're fucked up, and you actually deserve
absolutely nothing.
So, I'll play this audio clip for you from Global News.
The West Bloc, he believes this is not the time for politics or figuring out who's to blame, but rather to focus on flattening the curve. And he took issue with this description of Alberta protesters from Conservative MP Michelle Rempel-Garner in an emergency debate in the House Wednesday night.
People need to eat. So it's very paternalistic to suggest that people who might not be following restrictions are doing so from a place of just sort of like bourgeois contempt for the law.
Those people at those anti-mask protests, let's not kid ourselves. They're not people who need to eat. They are people who are marching in thinly veiled white nationalist, supremacist, anti-government protests, and they don't deserve that kind of sympathy.
After an 11-year term, Nenshi has announced he won't be running for his mayoral seat again, so we asked him what's next.
I have no idea. I know that when I'm finished this job in about 6 months, I have a long to-do list, but when I'm finished in about 6 months, I will find a way to serve. That's in my blood, but probably outside of elected office for now.
You can catch the full interview with Mayor Nenshi, as well as a wide-ranging conversation with Intergovernmental Affairs Minister Dominic LeBlanc on Alberta, military misconduct and long-term care, Sunday on the West Bloc. Robin?
Abigail Beeman in Ottawa. Looking forward to it.
Like, really? Is that the logic, Mr. Nenshi? Thinly veiled white supremacists. Yes, we are all tyrants. Yes, every white man and woman out there that's protesting these lockdowns are nothing but a goddamn fucking bunch of crazy bastards, right? Yes, we're all terrible. We're all evil. Oh, yes. Yes. Did you say the same thing when they had the BLM marches there last year? Are they thinly veiled black supremacists too? Well, how about the Asian Canadians that were protesting the false accusation from the hijab hoax there back in Toronto 2 years ago, when two Muslim kids convinced the country that some Asian man cut her hijab, right? How about the Asians protesting that statement too in Toronto? Are they thinly veiled Asian supremacists? Is that your logic? I don't know about you folks, but I was raised in a household where you don't judge people based on their color. You judge people based on their actions and or lack of them. So here's another politician who's on his way out of politics. Yes. Well, I did 11 years. I'm doing my best, and I got a whole list of things to do. Exactly what are you going to be doing then, sir? You'll be working for some corporate conglomerate that made sure you had a nice comfy seat in the Calgary City Hall. Hey, getting a little job here. Maybe a slap and tickle. Maybe a promise of a kiss and a reach around.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, too. Please do not forget to check me out on Supercast, too, a Canadian-based company. For $5 a month, you can check out my podcasts every month. $5 a month, that's all it costs you. Check out all my podcasts, censorship-free. We know how big tech is trying to nail certain voices and dissidents and whatever, etc. So please check me out in Supercast. Links will be in the description. And please check out my shop, customizedgirl.com/s/Crusty Canuck. I've got hats, I got shorts, I got swimsuits, I got tank tops, t-shirts, mugs, stickers, little flasks, and other paraphernalia in the works as we speak too. So please check out my shop. Every time you purchase something, you're not only supporting the Crusty Neck podcast, but you're promoting freedom of speech there, ladies and gentlemen. One patriot to the next. Fly the flag proudly. Like Midnight Oil used to say, my country, right or wrong. Yes, we have our imperfection. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Too much cigarettes. More. My country, right or wrong. Yes. We're not perfect. Democracy is not perfect. We know this. History has told us that. But it's a hell of a lot better than anything totalitarian. And what we were seeing and experiencing right now is totalitarian bullshit. People getting platforms to dictate to us that, if you're white and you're protest, then you're promoting white nationalism. Or if you're male and you're speaking out against this, then you're a misogynist. Or if you're white and male and you work here, then you're a domineering bastard. What happened? Right? What happened with all this mandates where the SJW mandate has precedence over fucking reality and common sense? Well, what happened? It's time we start fighting back again for common sense. Okay? And what gets me too is that you see this clown go on national television and yet no one's challenging him except for Twitter wars or comments here and there. Okay? Where are the politicians that are challenging this narrative too? You know, with the exception of Michelle Rempel and a few other conservatives, fine, okay. But where are the other politicians going national with this and standing up and having rebuttal against these clowns? You know, constantly pulling the race card. Oh, it's racism. It's systematic racism. Oh my God. It's been etched in our system for centuries and for years. Oh, the colonial model. If we did not have the colonial model, we would not have Canada now as we see it, or the United States or Mexico. Okay. And this is all high school history, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't something new or something discovered, or something that the woke people like to talk about. It's an excuse not to progress. And I'm talking real progression here. I'm not talking about making sure this group of people gets this, and that group of people gets that, or this gender gets this, or this gender gets that. I'm talking about progression where we can learn to overcome and adapt to situations. Yes, there are some dark chapters in our history, ladies and gentlemen, but we've also put light on them too. I wasn't around when the residential schooling thing was going around. I wasn't around when they had segregation in certain schools. But I'm here now, and I know that was a terrible thing. And nobody in my circle of life, nobody that I know personally, is going to go out of their way to harm somebody because of color or gender. Okay? So lay off this woke bullshit. Toughen up. Use some cojones. Get your lady balls out. Start fucking using them. Okay? Start promoting resilience again. Yes, times can be tough, but we don't need these fucking clowns to make it any fucking tougher.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyhow, moving on from Mayor Nenshi's bullshit. What an ass clown. Honestly, really. You know, what were the people of Calgary thinking of voting this fucking clown in? Is saying that kind of crap. Oh, they don't need to eat. Let them have cake. Oh, yes. They don't need to eat. No, I guess all those protesters have great paying jobs and they're making, anywhere from 5.5 figures to 6.5 figures a year, right? Yeah. Even though you've locked everything up, you've closed down places, you've sent the police to do nasty things. You ignited health officials to do nasty things in the city of Calgary. But no. Those people don't need to eat. Oh, no, of course not. No. It's just white supremacy. Oh, you fucking twit. Carrying on. Now, even Jagmeet Singh had something to say, right? And I took this little blurb from Canada Poly. Thank you, Canada Poly, for putting up some great work there. And I'll be in touch with you later in regards to possibly a guest spot on my show. But here, pay attention to what Mr. Jagmeet Singh said.
For those groups, or a way for national security to perhaps deal with them in a more aggressive...
Actually, I think I'm going to back it up a bit because this is worthwhile watching. He talks about, the beginning of this talks about, it's kind of soft language. It's at the end where he gets pointed with it. The newspaper goes with the little soft language at the beginning, but I want you to pay attention to the pointed language at the end, okay? Because that's the point of this little segment. Okay, here we go.
Yes, I do think that there is an connection with people who aren't wearing a mask or who aren't following public health guidance and the extreme right, and the idea that folks in the extreme right don't care about people around them, aren't concerned about the safety and well-being of people generally, their neighbors and the people in the community, and to brazenly not follow public health guidelines puts people at risk, and that is something that we've seen with extreme right-wing ideology, putting people at risk, not being concerned about the safety of others, not being concerned about the welfare of others. There is a connection, certainly.
Do you think that the public safety agency or the federal government needs to look at a designation for those groups, or a way for national security to perhaps deal with them in a more aggressive way than they are now, just given that they continue to happen across the country as we're in such a kind of deadly third wave?
Pursuing any extreme right-wing groups that are radicalizing people or that are putting Canadian safety at risk, and any white supremacist groups, I think that should happen all the time. That's an important risk to Canadians, and that we have to consider it as serious as it is, and it has been ignored for too long. So that is something that we should do. Extreme right-wing groups, white supremacist groups that are taking advantage of opportunities to radicalize people, to create division and hatred, those groups are a real threat, and they should absolutely be pursued.
So the beginning of that started with Jagmeet Singh talking about.
Yeah, sorry for that cut off there too. Thank you to Canada Polly Mark there for putting that up in your episode. Yes. So where are these groups, Jagmeet? Like I asked earlier in the show, where are these groups? You talk about these white supremacist groups, and yet where are they? Huh? Where are these groups you talk of? You sit in Ottawa for a very long time, and you'd be privy to information. You would be, because it's part of your job. Right? Where are these groups you talk of? Are you saying that every time there's a protest in any major city in this country, and it happens to be a lot of white people out there, does that automatically mean that they're part of some kind of front, some kind of tribe, some kind of group, some kind of nationalist this or nationalist that? Why do people like you make it a crime to wave the flag in this country? Then again, you've never served, sir. You know, you can't go back to India because you're denied a visa, right? And there's facts online about that too, folks. So if you want to check that out for yourselves, why is Mr. Singh denied a visa to enter India, right? Why is it a crime in this country to wave your flag? Okay. We all know economic turmoil is coming. How many businesses were closed that were open successfully for 25 to 30 years? How many people have lost their jobs? How many people have waited in line for the CERB and CEBA and other perks from the government? And I'm not condemning anybody who's needed that. By all means, you need something, you need help. Yes, by all means, go get it. But then again, you're seeing the social engineers in the major cities telling people where they can go, where they can shop, where they can wipe, where they can pick their nose, you know, how they can live their life, how to kiss your wife, how to kiss your husband, how to kiss your boyfriends, or many boyfriends, or many girlfriends, however your lifestyle may be. But they're not telling you that there's hope on the horizon. No. They keep talking about more lockdowns and more racial segregation. And oh my God, it's racism if you do this. Oh my God, it's misogyny if you do this. Right? These clowns have had enough. They've done enough. Right? And then they're talking about an election too. And even in the news today in regards to elections, they're pondering the whole mail-in ballot thing. How'd that work for our friends in the States, ladies and gentlemen? How well did that work for our friends in the States when they had their federal election? Right? November 6th, they had their federal election. You know, of course, Biden won. But how long did it take him to come to that answer? Wasn't it just before Christmas or just after Christmas? So a month and a half after said election, they finally had a winner? Really? How's it going to work in Canada, too? When we have every federal election that I can remember, within 24 hours, we had a new prime minister and a new party calling the shots. How's it going to work now with that mail-in ballot bullshit? You know, we're going to sit and glued to our sets to see which party is getting this, which poll is going to promote this, which poll is going to promote that. And then we're going to have more individuals talking for a recount or a recall because it wasn't fair in this riding or wasn't fair in that riding. More mail-in ballots. Are you actually going to have armed security guards and police officers overseeing the counting this time? Are you going to worry about a machine doing it for you and have tech experts on standby just in case a count doesn't go the right way, quote unquote? Something to think about, folks. Right? So to all the Jagmeet Singhs out there, Mayor Nenshis, Charlie Angus's, he made a comment too. I can't find his tweet right now, but look up Charlie Angus and some of the tweets he made. Wow. Just some really fucking disingenuous bullshit out there. Right? What gets me too is the arrogance. They forget that they have a job. They forget that every 2 weeks they look at their bank account, there's a few good numbers sitting right there for them while they're sitting there talking about racism and other BS virtues. Okay? Well, there's people like me, my friends, my employers, my family members, my wife, who are struggling to get ahead. Okay? So not only are they not leading or trying to fight the good fight, they're looking for something to pick on. They'll look for whatever to pick on. You know, they'll lift this rock up. Oh, is there racism there? Oh, they'll open this door. Oh, is there racism here? You know, they'll dig a hole. Oh, is there racism there? Is there racism here? Racism there? Oh, there's racism here. Oh, is there racism there? Or is it up there? Or is it over there? We don't know. But there's racism, I tell you. I swear there's racism. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So all those people that back these clowns up, really sit and think. Sit and think for a minute. Okay, where are you living? What comforts do you have because you actually earned those comforts? Now compare it with the comforts you have that were given to you by somebody else. Okay? And while you're thinking about that, take a look outside if you have the opportunity to see an actual protest and look at every individual as best you can. And you try to tell me that they're all white people. Okay? I don't know about you, but like I said earlier, the footage I've seen from Rebel Media, True North News, and even some of the mainstream spots have demonstrated there's quite a diverse mix of individuals at these protests. They come from all walks of life. Gay, straight, bi, tri, whatever abbreviation they use now. Pansexual. Just down-to-earth fucking real people. They just want to go back with their lives and carry on with their lives. Okay? They just want to fucking carry on and just do their thing. And I can guarantee a lot of those people out there protesting too are not really political. Be honest with you. They probably don't give a shit who's the prime minister, or who's the premier, or who's the mayor, or who represents this ward or that ward, or who can stand their leg and whistle Sweet Fucking Dixie. Who gives a shit? They just want to go back to their jobs, go back to their lives, go back to actually putting money back in their savings account again. Actually have a nest egg that they fucking earned and they had to obliterate the past year and a half because of your fucking lockdowns and your mandates and your race baiting bullshit. Okay? These people have had enough of all the fucking CDC data and the Health Canada data when it comes to how many masks you have to wear, how many times you're going to wash your hands, or where to put your fucking dick.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're at the point of my episode where I pick a wonderful winner of the famous
The Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit.
And of course, with due consideration, I give it to a group or individual or a group of individuals or so-called experts, know-it-alls who have said and done some really stupid things. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the award goes to, wait for it, one more time, one more, and one more time. The award of
The Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit
goes to Charlie Angus, MP for the NDP in federal parliament, Jagmeet Singh, federal leader of the NDP, and Mayor Nenshi. Hey, well done, gentlemen. Well done. It just goes to show that leadership is really fucked in this country. And you guys take the fucking prize. Honestly. Really. You know? And like I said in my last episode, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage people to come out and debate me. Now, debating means you don't throw insults and make cracks about my age or my eyebrows or my goatee. You actually engage me in debate and show me some stats and figures and back it up, i.e. point-proof explanation. Now, I open that debate up to people of the NDP too. So if there's any federal or provincial NDPers out there that want to engage me in debate, I can set it up on my StreamYard and we can have at it. Big time. And don't use points about who makes money in this country and who doesn't, or what's great for the social spectrum. Talk to me like a Canadian to a Canadian. I'm a Canadian that fought for this country, and I'm proud of it. And regardless of the nightmares and the demons I've had to fucking slay, I'm still here. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. And there's more of us coming out of the woodwork too. Honestly. So put that in your pipes and smoke them, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to dealing with the NDP and the Liberals as we see it. There's nothing liberal about them. They're not being liberal. They're not being progressive. They're trying to contain, they're trying to chastise, and they're condemning people for wanting to go about their business. It's not white nationalism. It's not racism. It's not fucking segregation. These people are promoting this segregation by constantly putting people into groups. Why can't we just look at Canada as Canadians? My American listeners out there too. Well, how many race baiters are down there pulling the same thing, pulling the same shit? Right? Maybe I'm lucky. I never got to experience that level of hatred growing up. I've experienced my shares of fucking prejudice. Yes, of course. Everything from your little high school cliques to your college cliques to your little groups here, little groups there. Idle compared to actual segregation and harm. But still, I never grew up with that kind of shit because I was taught better. And I'm almost positive that you, my listeners, were taught the same thing too. You know? It's just like I say, you know, when I look at these guys, it just keeps proving to me that crack doesn't smoke itself. And they've had more than enough people sit there and wipe their butts for them, look after them. You know, we have to really look at these leaders too and see their backgrounds. How many blue collar leaders are out there right now who've actually worked in factories and worked their way up? I can think of two of them I've talked to. Honestly, I can think of two politicians that I have talked to that have worked with the land or worked in the patch and done some great fucking things. But I also want to hear more of these guys speak up and talk out, to join us at these rallies, to join the rallies and talk about this bullshit and surface it. Okay? So, once again, I extend the invitation to any liberal candidate out there, federal or provincial, and to any NDP candidate out there, federal, provincial. Join me in debate. I'll set it up in StreamYard. We can do it. I'll televise it at my expense. Let me know. CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com. Reach out and talk to Crusty, hey? See what points I have. Something a little more down to earth than the so-called projection that you fuckers are trying to promote.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, again, more of this garbage, this racial tension. Now, to all the Mayor Nenshis out there, to all the facsimiles, to all the Jagmeet Singhs, to all these teetotaling, let's find racism. It's not there. You're going to find people that might say some really stupid shit. But that's far few in between. It's not the level as it was, let's say, back in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, okay? It's not at that level. Hey, when you keep promoting this bullshit, there are still people that hang on to your every goddamn word and go, oh my God, he's so right. Oh my God, they're so right. How dare people do this? How dare you be so selfish and go to the streets and protest? How dare you? I've already told you what they're protesting. They're not protesting to segregate schools. They're not protesting to segregate the workplaces. They're not protesting to put people here and put people there. They want to be where they want to be. They want to go back to their schools. They want to go back to their businesses. They want to get their good jobs. They want to start putting food on the table again. And yet these ass clowns are holding them back in the name of safety. Safety, the magic word of safety. Yes, of course. It's safe to do this for because we know what's best. Put on your 3 masks, stick your pecker in a glory hole, and all is forgiven. It's all about safety. And we actually try to reach out to these guys. And I've actually had a couple emails this week from people who've actually honestly tried to reach out to their MPs, their representatives, respectively. And they more or less got this answer.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I have an infection in my ear. Oh.
We all know what that's about, eh? Exactly. You know, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I have an infection in my ear. Yes, I got better things to do, they more or less say. And to my friends out there that have talked to me, they've personally called me, and they've asked me, Crusty, what do I do when these guys don't answer my call? Well, fucking call them again. Send them emails. You know? Sit there and type up a handwritten letter to the best of your ability. You know, use proper grammar and all that. There's software you can use, but still, I'm not going to be a grammar Nazi, but use what you can. Do what you can. Get the information going. I said numerous times I believe in peaceful protests. I don't believe in throwing bricks and smashing up people's stores and smashing up people's property. I've seen that shit before, and it ain't pretty. It's not sexy. It's not fun, ladies and gentlemen. But I've seen enough of it. I've seen enough of it last me a lifetime, and I really don't want to do that anymore. I would say it's a last resort. But the way these guys are operating, the way they keep pushing, the way they keep chastising, the way they keep telling us what to do, what to think, when to do it, and then to sit there on national television and call us fucking racist for doing it. Well, which is it then? It's like the classical mind fuck. You know, you score a pretty date, you know, on that prom. You know, you get yourself the best date in the world, you know, and she can't tell you what's right or what's wrong. You know what I mean? I think a lot of you guys can relate to that. Without getting into some graphic details, but I digress, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting to a point where things are boiling over, and I've said this on my live shows too, right? And I also want to thank everybody who's come out to my live streams too. Thank you very much. I like to say that all my subscribers and listeners out there, you guys are fucking wonderful. You are awesome. And I appreciate the kind feedback and the comments and the suggestions. I am grateful for that. Thank you. And please consider donating too, if you can. Give what you can. I'm not expecting or demanding oodles of cash, but I like to make this a full-time commitment. That's assuming, you know, I don't get elected. I'm not hoping to be elected. Well, I am hoping to be elected, but in the same sense too, if that doesn't work out, I like to make this a full-time commitment as well, to make you, my audience, feel good and enjoy my content. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. There is light. I'm not going to sit here and be pessimistic and cry my oatmeal and pick my nose and play with my buttocks and, you know, make a wish. But the wishes I'm going to make is this, that our democracy will thrive, that people like you and your friends and your loved ones, people like me, my friends and loved ones, everyone out there gets a chance to do what they want to do. Equality of opportunity. That's what we're fighting for. Not equality of outcome. Opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Fight for the opportunity to get that great job. Fight the opportunity to get that great fucking degree if you want to pursue post-secondary academia. Fight the opportunity to date that wonderful human being and maybe marry that wonderful human being. All right? Opportunity to thrive, to flourish by your own means, by your own accords. Right? A woman's place is where she wants to be. A man's place is where he wants to be. None of this fucking half-assed, let's dig up some old racial bullshit or the old prejudicial bullshit again to promote some fucking narrative. Start being genuine. Start being real again. Start being honest and sincere. And yes, tell us the hard truths. Don't be telling people all the time, you can't, you're not, you can't, you're not. Enough of that shit. Yes, you can. It might take you longer. You might have to work a bit harder, but it can be done. That simple. I still got demons that linger in my life sometimes, but I've slayed most of them. And I'm ready to slay the rest of them. What say you? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into this podcast. This has been a Crusty Canuck podcast for May 11th, 2021. And thank you again to everyone who has subscribed and clicked like and shared this around. Please keep doing it. Keep clicking and sharing this around. Keep clicking that like and share. Spread this all around to the best of your abilities, ladies and gentlemen. And just an update here. I'm still working on the video software thing. I'm trying to coordinate the MP4, MP3, and the audio and video, all that kind of stuff. I got the software, just working at the kinks, so I'll be doing videos in the near future, so please stay tuned to that. And pay attention to my community page on YouTube and Facebook, respectively. And I am branching out to other social media platforms, too, so pay attention to updates on that as well. And a special thank you out there to the people that came out on the Sunday fastball. Greatly appreciate the comments and the donations I received. Thank you very much. You can tune in this Sunday, too, to another fastball I'll be getting some new title work and all that done too, so pay attention to that. And this Thursday, I will have a guest. Try to confirm something today. I got no feedback just yet, but there will be a guest this Thursday's Fastball. Maybe a familiar face that you've seen before, but nonetheless, there will be a guest on the Thursday Fastball this Thursday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And, of course, the usual Sunday spot, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, too, for all the listeners and viewers out there alike. Thank you once again to everyone who has contributed and made this podcast that much better. Without you, I don't know where I'd be. Where I would be. I don't know where you guys would be, but I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for the great thoughts and kind words and the subscriptions and the thumbs up and likes and all that. So, like I said, keep sharing. Spread this around. Keep the algorithm going for us independent folk, right? And please pay attention to the Adam Daniel Mezei broadcast, too, at mezei.ca, Fred Stockman at Anchor FM, and Frank P. Vaughn. And follow Chris Semchuk, Veterans Veritas. He has a channel on YouTube, too, and I'll leave links in the description for you guys to follow. Some great work and some great information out there for all of us to enjoy and embrace, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 11th of May, 2021. It's a nice day outside. I'm going to do maybe cut the grass, and then I'll be off to my part-time job. Try to earn a decent living again. But do what you can. Help each other out, folks. Like I say, do what you can. Help your friends and loved ones. Stand up for what's right. And let's not why there's bullshit. And like I always say, humanity and merit wins the day. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Well, no shit. What have we got here? A fucking comedian, private joker. I admire your honesty. I am hard, but I am fair. There is no racial bigotry here. Because I am hard, you will not like me. But the more you hate me, the more you will learn. Do you maggots understand that? Now get up! Get on your feet! I'll be watching you.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.